Nice to have everyone here. We're looking forward to explain more about what the B Corp certificate is, how you can get there, why you should do it. We will explain a little bit on what we do from Move to Impact. And yeah, let's take you along on this journey. We are Amber Kessler and me, Skadi Möbius, and from Move to Impact. We also joined from Iris today, and nice to have you here. Our mission is to move businesses towards sustainable impact by connecting people and data. That's what we definitely want to do. And we connect in that way sustainability with the operational KPIs to understand and act as a company, so that you can really have a holistic view on not only financial targets of your company, but to involve the people and the social parts as well in there. And in that sense, we connect, and create and build KPIs and take the people along to activate them and understand actually what they stand for and what companies want to reach. In that sense, we get a lot of questions from companies like, okay, how can I become sustainable? And in that sense, we also get the question, oh, and what is this B Corp certificate actually? And how should we do that? And should we integrate that in our goals? And from that perspective, we will tell you today how we approach this topic of becoming a B Corp in 6 steps.
So first, we're going to explain to you what is a B Corp. First, I'm curious in the chat, who knows what a B Corp is, or is it just totally blank?
Agnes says yes. I know what a B Corp is. Yes, perfect.
Well, for the other ones who don't know, what is a B Corp? Well, a B Corp, B stands for benefit, so a benefit corporation, and it's a certification for profit companies. And what do? They assess companies on different criteria to see whether they're doing business for good. So that the business is not only in business to be profitable for the shareholders, but that it's also doing good for the community, for the environment, or at least not harming it while making profit. So, and one thing that is really important for the B Corps is to be transparent about everything you do. Well, today we're going to discuss how do you become a B Corp, and how do we think that you should become a B Corp like as most effective and less time consuming as possible. But in order to know what is it like? Okay, you want to be a sustainable company. A B Corporation, a certified B Corporation, is a kind of assessed certificate for, okay, then I know that it's a sustainable company, that it's just not just greenwashing, but also tested by other companies in order to see whether it's really sustainable, yes or not. And this is then companies, if they want to become a B Corp, you have to go through a really challenging certification process. We're going to talk about that later. And when a company gets this certified, this certification for B Corp, everybody knows it's a transparent, sustainable company. They monitor the impact that they have on the people, planet, and profit, and they're doing business for good. Well, this assessment, what is the B? Well, B Lab is the group of the company that's assessing you. They look at your company in 5 different ways. They assess, okay, how are you dealing with your workers? Are you giving them enough benefits? Are you treating them in a fair way? But also, how do you look at the community? Is it not just that you are taking as a company and not giving anything back? So how are you giving things back to the community without immediately asking something from it? And the same counts for the environment. Are you just taking things from the environment in order to get profit, or are you also looking for a sustainable environmental place? Are you giving things back, or are you looking to make like your production process as sustainable as possible? What they also think is very important is to look at the governance. Okay, how is your company structured? Is it tested, like audited by your financials in order to see whether you're doing the right thing on financial basis? But also, is it not that you take all the money from the local economy and ship it to your shareholders in another country? Really looking at how are you doing the governance local with affecting the community as well. And of course, how are you dealing with your customers? Are you just taking the money in order to sell your products, or are you really caring for them and making sure you are the best, really taking the customer's client approach, or just taking the money and go? So based on these 5 different aspects, you get points, but it's not just that every company gets the same amount of points for each aspect, since if we look at a service company, it's of course the impact is way bigger on the workers and community, since you're not really selling a product. While if you're making a product, most of the times you get things from the environment in order to create a product. So then the points for the environment become way more important, and of course the customers are always important. Are there any questions until now? No.
I see Frederick shaking his head no. So far, so good. Thumbs up.
Then if we now know what is B Corp.
Wait, Amber, Anna has a question. Yeah.
Hi. Thank you for organizing this. Really glad to participate. My name is Ana Struna-Brigar. I come from Slovenia. I'm running a sustainable business network, and we met with Skadi on 1 year ago at the Cambridge Institute Sustainability Leadership course. And my question would be, so you are assessing companies for them. So this is now like you are an outsource partner for assessing, for preparing companies to get B Corp certificate, or so just the connection between the organization which is giving certificate and you.
Yeah.
We will come back to that later, since now we're kind of introducing the B Corp thing, and later we will
we will show the connection basically on how and what, but we are independent from them. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, how do you become a B Corp? Like I already told you, there's a really intense certification process, and it's all about points. In total, they give out 200 points, but in order to get the B Corp certification, you need a minimum of 80. Like I told you at the previous slides, these points, how to get them can differ, and we have a tool we will explain later to identify what should be the prioritization of your organization. Well, this B impact assessment is done by the B Lab, and it starts with an online questionnaire. There are almost 160 questions, depends on what sector or branch you are. And you have to fill them in, and these questions are again divided into 5 topics: workers, community, environment, governance, and customers. You have different questions, and there are several answers which are multiple choice. And based on the answer you pick, you get an amount of points for that question. The answers that lead towards the most positive impact on the 5 topics, of course, lead towards the most B impact points. After you filled in this B impact assessment, you see, okay, your score, and if you see like, okay, it's minimum 80, you can ask for a review by the B Lab in order to get to your validation interview. However, if it, for example, says you have 82 points. We would recommend to improve your improve the score first before getting into the validation interview, since after the validation interview the average of points that is declined is around 8 points. So in order, because of misinterpretation or misunderstanding of the question. So be prepared if you go in there that your points may decrease because of the validation interview.
Yeah. And to like add on in here in general, coming also a little bit back to Anna's question, B Corp certificate or the assessment is made by the B Lab organization. So it's a company on its own who created the standard and this questionnaire, and yeah, the companies try to get it with these process steps, basically Amber just explained.
Well, if the B Lab, for example, B Lab Europe or B Lab Benelux says, yeah, we think you deserve to become a B Corp, you have to sign the B Corp Declaration of Interdependence, where you state that you will always act in the B Corp way of thinking, that you do good and always think of doing business for good and not just for yourself, but to have a positive impact for the holistic thing as a whole. But once you're B Corp, it's not that you're B Corp forever, since there's every 3 years there's a review in order to see if you're still B Corp worthy, but also whether you make improvements to really challenge organizations to keep improving their impact. Are any questions until now? No. Okay. Well, then the B Corp certification process, like I said before, you start with the impact assessment, which you fill in online on the B Impact Assessment website. When you say, okay, I feel ready as an organization, you can ask for the review and you get this validation interview. When they think like you that you deserve to be B Corp certified, you sign a B Corp declaration, and at the end you will get the certification.
With every 3 years, the reviews.
Yeah.
However, we wouldn't sit here, or it wouldn't explain so much about it if there wouldn't be a lot of challenges. Since it's the challenge, how can an organization become a sustainable organization? The certificate is not something for like, oh, let's do it just in a little bit, or just do it for the certification part. It's really something to change your organization for good and implement step-by-step stages of sustainability aspects. These 4 steps are the formal steps within the B Corp organization and the assessment parts, basically. And the challenges organization face while going through this standard procedure for them are based on like 3 to 4 things, and it's understanding the scoring part, inform and engage the company, and then the time and the money aspect of it. Like, how can you save the time and how can you save money? So what do we mean by challenges with understanding? Challenges with the understanding part of the B Corp certification process are about the process itself, like what are the formal parts, what should I do as an organization to really change. It's not only these 4 steps, what are the actual steps, what should I like, how should I proceed through this that I actually can be successful in the end to get the score. Then when coming to the B impact assessment part, how to answer the questions. A lot of questions are things organizations are faced the first time with. For example, policy questions for the employees, or a whistleblower part in there, things like that, or how to incorporate your mission in your policies, things like that. But also like how to engage with the energy process of your company. a lot of questions are around that and how to actually measure CO2 parts. A lot of things going on over there to inform yourself more. Then the next part is where and how to get the information from in your organization. So, okay, you got through the assessment, the B Corp impact assessment, and then you see, okay, I actually miss information. Where in my organization can I get it from? So you see, you need the engagement of everyone in the organization, from HR, from sales, from finances, from the IT department, to see, for example, if the server capacities of your organization is sustainable or not. So things like that, you need to engage with people in that, and you need to know where to get the information a little bit from. Then the second part is the scoring part. Where do I get the most and least points off? For example, you have, after the first time you filled in the questionnaire, you have, for example, 60 points from the 80. And then you think like, how can I get there? And you improve a lot of things. And then you fill it in again. And then you're at 70 points. And you think like, oh, I'm actually like 9 months further, and where do I actually get the points from? So it would be important to know, where do I get the most points and the least points from, and is it actually possible to change a couple of things which are easy for me to change and make me a better sustainable organization, and some parts you would need like 2 or 3 years for it to change, which is okay, since it's in stages to become more sustainable. Then the second part of the scoring part is how to formulate actions and changes within your organization to actually become better. So while going through the questionnaire of B Corp organization, you come across things you don't have in your organization, but it's not like that there is like, oh, you should implement this most of the times. It's more like, oh, now I have to like get a new bank, or should I get a new server? Should I do it myself? Should I get more people involved? It's really hard to grasp what precisely to do in that. And the third part is inform and engage. Like you see, there are a lot of vague parts in it, from how to move forward and how to become more sustainable. So you need to engage your employees in ideas and activities. So how can you come up with new things that the employees actually think like they want to do as well, since it's more sustainable in the sense of like duration for your company to be good on an ecological, financial, and social aspect. Then the leadership to involve for like strategic the strategic process, but also for setting goals for the organization, so that it's really sustainable goals in that sense, but also the stakeholders, that they're not against it or not like fighting the process, but that they set a vision and are aligned with this vision and are realistically looking at the results from it. Since some can be short-term wins, but some wins will be in the long term, so it's important to engage them in this process. Then we come actually to the benefits. So now we have like so many challenges, but why should you actually become a B Corp, or why should you strive for getting the B Corp certification? So there are 8 benefits we see. There's like 1, gain more credibility. There's so much greenwashing out there of saying companies, oh, we're doing so good for the environment, or so good for our people, or so good on a financial positive part. But actually this process shows that you actually do the work and not only like talking about it or make a good marketing campaign. The second is clients love sustainable certifications. A lot of people have the motivation to become more sustainable in their daily lives and also with business partners, but they don't know how to identify these people. So if they see a positive certification on it, then they are more driven to connect to you and buy your services or products. The third part is sustainable company attracts new talents. Talents want not to work for a company who is like doing not good for the world, but actually like want to have a purpose, want to do good. And that's what you're hearing more and more from younger people, to say like, hey, we want to just engage with the company or employer who actually like want to support me, the environment, and also the company. The fourth is transparency leads to trust and more autonomy. So when you are more transparent with your monitoring and your goals towards your customers, but also to your stakeholders, it creates much more trust, and you get more wiggle room for actually talking about it and to achieving specific goals. The certification process keeps you sharp, in the sense like every 3 years you get updated or reviewed basically on your sustainability aspects of your company, on people, planet, and profit, and the 5 parts Amber said before. So you know that you will be up to date on what's important in the ecological, financial, and social parts of your company. So you will actually see it as a stimulus as well. Then the sixth benefit is credible comparison. Like at the moment, companies compare apples with pears, in the sense that companies say like, oh, we compare each other from how much revenue we make or how much value we create for our company. But what does that actually mean? Does it mean you have an amazing sales team or you do really great in marketing? That doesn't really matter, in the sense if you have a product or a service and the one is actually like making a lot of win for bringing the earth and his people really down, like working for it, and the other is doing a little or at least as good and is doing good for their people and for the planet, it's much better high and value than the company who's earning the same basically. Then the seventh benefit is long-term effect on lower costs and higher profits. Since you care for the products and for the people who are actually helping you grow your company or providing your company, they will grow as well and will give you a longer benefit on actually receiving your goals or getting you towards your goals. Then the eighth part is expand your network. Since you become a part of the B Corp family, you get a lot of access to the network, but especially also you reach new target groups in the market you haven't reached, for example, with such a certificate.
Yeah, so by this getting into this B Corp community, which almost feels like a family, since you all have the same goals, taking care of each other, you get the opportunity to reach out to like-minded peers, since you don't have to start, okay, what are you doing, since you all know that you have the same values. So it's easier to start the conversation. And further, since the B Corp community creates a lot of data, they also share a lot of knowledge in their newsletters and their events. So you also get access to that. So to become sustainable in an effective way, instead of thinking of reinventing the wheel yourself.
Yeah, you see, for example, like supermarket chains in the Netherlands now create a buzz around B Corp products in their supermarkets. So they will group them together in one shelf so that customers know, like, oh, if I buy something from this shelf, it's all good, basically. It's I can just take it and that will do good for people, planet, and for the company. So that's really nice to see, and is more bringing the marketing aspect out of it, and not in the greenwashing part, but really in the supportive part and understanding and supporting each other. So, okay, let's get to the 6 steps to become a B Corp. Why do we say 6 steps of becoming a B Corp? It's on when we as Move to Impact look at the 4 steps we showed you in the beginning. It's the formal steps. But then you have to think, like, what are the change steps a company has to do? So we are not aligned with B Corp itself. So when we looked at it, we aligned with the question of our customers. We saw like, okay, we need to show them the steps they can do in between, that they feel supported and successfully prepared to go in the B Corp process. So we help them start the process up so that they have an amazing overview, and we show you other parts we provide for our customers. But then they go through the B Corp assessment themselves, but they know then what the numbers mean, how they can reach it, and how they can prioritize and plan it within their road mapping as well. So that's what we do with the connecting all the KPIs as move to impact to create action. That's why if companies want to become B Corp, we help them to identify the targets within the B Corp parts to become B Corp certified and take it into consideration in the road mapping and the KPIs. So coming back to the 6 steps to become a B Corp, to save money and time, we see 6 steps. So the analysis in the beginning, then the B impact assessment, as we know, to know where you stand, then prioritization, action planning, adjustment, and certification. Can you go further, Amber? Perfect. So we come back to the overview we created in the beginning. So you see in turquoise the B Corp certification process, you see the challenges on the left, and now we integrated our 6 steps to become a B Corp. So you have the analysis in the beginning. So that's really to see, is B Corp something for you? Should you want to have this certificate? What's going on in your organization? Who is in? Is it top down? Is it bottom up? To have a little bit an overview of where you stand and what is B Corp in that sense. Then you get into on the website basically of B Corp and fill in the B impact assessment and see, okay, what kind of questions do you have? Go in it and try to search for the information and try to work basically and engage your company within this process to develop towards a sustainable company. And this is the circle you see in the middle, the prioritization, action planning, and adjustments. That's basically the change part of the organization to be able to make successful the certification process. And this is a loop because like every 3 years you do the review and basically you look again, what are the prioritizations we can take into consideration in our goals? How can we plan and act basically on them, and how can we adjust it in our company? So when we talk about prioritization, we mean, okay, you walk through the assessment part and how can you now say, okay, which parts are the more effective parts we should change in our organization, which are short-term wins, which are long-term wins. Really prioritize the actions which you formulated out of the questions from the B Corp assessment and see how it actually is working within your company. And then the next step would be in the action planning in your company. Okay, so you have your prioritization list. So what are the actions you can do now and can directly basically go for it? What are the actions you have to roadmap basically for the future and really assign it to the different departments and create a project leader of it so that really someone is like tackling you and helping you dragging this everything through the organization. It could be you as well, but really align with all the important peoples on the different departments, definitely on HR, on IT, and in the leadership team, so that they are aligned, and also with the employees that they really getting along with it in the action planning. And then it comes to the adjustment parts, to the doing part, really. Like, okay, you planned it, you assigned it, and now it has to be basically rolled out. And when you basically know a little bit more about the numbers and the scores, you can say, okay, we did now from our prioritization list of like 15 actions, for example, we did like these 12, and now we think we are ready. And you can look again at the B impact assessment and see, okay, we can fill in these questions now differently. Let's have a look how we score now in this assessment. And then you see basically whether you are over the 80 points. Like Amber said, it's important to be a little over it so that you can have the possibility, a little bit wiggle room that 8 points are restricted. And then basically you are ready after this process to go through the real certification process, which B Corp says, like the B impact assessment, validation, interview, sign B Corp declaration, and then the reviewing process. So that's a little bit more, in our view, a realistic view of looking at this process.
So if you look at these steps and put our services aside, what we do is first we help you as organization in the analysis. Okay, what is the sustainability level in your organization? What's the change culture? Looking at the B impact assessment and the prioritization action plan adjustments, we guide you towards the assessment, help you in getting more information on the scoring with our tool, which we will show in a minute. Since the scoring overview really saves you time and money in prioritizing your actions and seeing which adjustments are worth your time, yes or not. And well, of course, it's also investments. People have to work on it. Maybe you have to change some things in your process, have to buy new things. And in order to make it a change thing, since it's not just getting a certification, it's really about changing your culture into becoming a B Corp, we help you to integrate and activate this within the company with certain workshops. So, well, since we did a few data analysis things, we discovered
we are into data, just so you know.
We discovered that by working with us, you already score 13 points in your B Corp assessment. Which points? Well, since we are going to do the analysis with you, and we're going to look into what are the objectives based on people, planet, and profit, you already show you stand for a positive impact for social, ecological, and endangered groups. That you include stakeholders in social and environmental activities, since we're going to challenge you in that and see whether you can monitor that. Well, we help you monitoring KPIs in social and environmental targets. In order, when you monitor them, you're transparent over your financial, social, and environmental activities, so then you get points for that as well. We are a female-owned company, so you get points for that as well. And since you're starting a collaboration with other organizations working on social and environmental challenges, you get points on that. And while you're working with us, well, you kind of get forced to look at your policies by the tricky questions we may ask you. So you will create the policies to see what's the impact of your organization as well.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm now going to show you the tool we are talking about all the time. Oh.
Yeah. We created a tool from all open source data, which you can get from B Corp. So what we said, like, okay, how can you, from the challenges you face as an organization, like, how can you do the scoring? Where can you see that you scored the most or the least points on, that you can actually prioritize the specific actions and can save time and money? We created an overview of the questions from the B Corp assessment part, which is owned by the B Corp organization. And then you can extract like Excel lists from it. And we created an own tool from it. So that for each organization we work with, we can show them basically on how and where to create more impact and create more points to actually be successful in the B Corp assessment.
Yeah, so now we're looking at the mud jeans. They are a company that creates circular jeans, since the jeans process is really, well, damaging. So they are creating a sustainable way of making jeans available for consumers. Well, if we put in the data, you see what you see here in the tool is the dark blue here is the points they can get from B Corp, and the turquoise is the ones Machin scored. And as you can see, since it's a production company, they are able to get the most points on environment, while the workers and community here are, well, kind of still important, but when you look at the points together, it's the environment alone is already more than workers and community together. Since this is a production company, if you would look at a service company, then the works and community would receive more points. And here we have a pie chart to see, okay, which impact area is most important. Then here the impact areas are divided up in different impact topics. That's what B Corp does. To see, like here you can say, okay, everything about air and climate, land and life, for example, and then here the different questions. Now, if we want to, for example, zoom into air and climate here, then you can see that mud jeans could get 15 points on that. They got 8.25, and these are the questions concerning, what did I select? Air and climate. Well, here the raw materials, you can see that they could have like 1.94 available, and they didn't have anything. Well, if you click on that question, then here in the tool you can see the question that is in the B impact assessment and the available answers. So the question was, okay, what is the then raw materials in currency terms grown or harvested? Then I don't know what they filled in, but they got 0 points for it. So either way, it's 0% or don't know in that way. Well, this is like the general overview we created in a tool. Okay, what is available and what did they earn? But of course, you want to know while working on the B Corp certificate process how to get this perfect score. So we created just a tab for, okay, which points didn't you get from it? So as you can see, Machines here could have a lot of points still on environment and on workers. Looking at the impact topics, it's more about financial security, health awareness, air and climate. And here you again see the questions. Well, if you look at the biggest point question, beyond your priority method indicated above, which other practices do you also have in place? And these are the answers that could be chosen in the B impact assessment. So what do we do when we're working with clients? We're going through these questions, looking from top down to see, okay, these questions, this question could give you 3 points still. Okay, what benefits does your company provide to a full-time tenured worker to supplement government programs? Well, we could discuss, okay, if we look here at life insurance or private dental insurance or private supplemental health insurance, would that be worth the three points that you get for it in order to talk about it? Or maybe the costs will be too high for your company, and we could look at, for example, this 1.3 question: can your company verify that your hazardous waste always disposed of responsibly? Well, maybe this is a way less cost-effective thing than giving everybody this insurance. And if we choose like this question and, for example, that question, and it doesn't take a lot of effort for the company, but you also get the 3 points, then well, we advise to put that in your action planning and on your sustainability roadmap in order to improve your B Corp score. So with the help of this tool, we challenge the organization to see, okay, what will be what will be the next step? And is it going to be this one 6-point question, or are we going to pick 3 or 4 smaller ones, which can be implemented in only like 4 or 5 weeks, while the other one, like Skadi said before, may take like 9 months, and then you even discover that it even didn't work since your company culture isn't just like that. So we use this this tool and prioritization to prioritize the actions we discussed before. But now we're only talking about the lackings. Of course, it's also nice to know, okay, what are the qualities of our company when we're looking to the B impact assessment. So you also have a tab here to see, okay, where do we get a lot of points, and what are we scoring on highly? And as you can see, well, here are machines already scores almost 30 points with just 2 questions. And for example, this one, they I know they do a lot of recycling with the water and with their process. So by looking at this, B impact of the B lab said, okay, you receive a lot of points for this because we really love what you're doing here. So yeah, that's kind of the tool. Any questions people want to dive into? Skadi, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Just questions for this tool right now, and afterwards we will have open questions basically for all the B Corp part and what we do for services.
But I see.
No? Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, Anna?
May I ask? So that what you are presenting, these bars, this is something what a company sees when they get assessed on the B Corp side, or this is something what you made?
This is our the move to impact. So this is the part we help organizations with in order to become a B Corp. When you fill in the B impact assessment on the B Corp website, you just get a lot of questions and put in your answers, and then in the end it says, well, 70, for example. And on this point of, then they did those 5 topics. They say, okay, you get so many points on this and that, but you still don't know what to tackle since, well, you can see environment. Okay, you don't have enough points on environment. Okay, what to do in order to change that? And we, with the help of we get out the data, put it in our tool, and then we can see, okay, in these questions, well, you're missing points there. So then we can talk about that question and see, okay, which actions do we need in order to get results on this question. Since, well, okay, work on your workers, it's like, okay, do we have to ask them what they want? And maybe if you make your workers more happy, then maybe you even don't even get points for it from B Corp, you know, since that's why we say we make it more efficient and less time and cost time consuming and less expensive, since you can focus on, okay, what do we need to do in order to get those B Corp points, instead of just guessing around, okay, what do we need to do for the environment?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to pressure on that sense also to say, like, it's really on the individual state where you're at, and that's more where we try to focus on, because like the sustainable change part in your organization is not going to be like, oh, tomorrow we are done, basically. It has to happen in stages, and if you're just in stage 1, 2, or 3 and not in stage 6, that's completely fine. But then you should like work on these and not be overwhelmed basically by the all rest, because the general sustainability topic and the word itself is really complex and confusing for the most people.
Okay, thank you. Maybe the other question is, so when a company decides to get B Corp certificated, they have to go through the assessment, but parallel, you offer help to them to integrate and to become better. So they have to decide, so it's not a package. So they pay for the fee to become B Corp regarding to their price list, and beside they take you as advisory company.
Filling in the B Corp assessment is free.
Okay.
From this month on, you pay 250, I don't know, euros or dollars, but to, well, let B Lab review it, and for that process. And we have this package where we then do the analysis of your company. You get this tool. We host this prioritization workshop. So we really do the consulting in order to well, do the B Corp certification process in the, well, most effective way, since it can take like years if you don't know where to start and what to do. And so we guide you with our help and tools and challenge you, since becoming a sustainable company, well, everybody can do it and think of it, but since you want to have the certifications, if that's your goal, you need to know how to get there, and in order to get those points, and that's the help we offer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, we set the company to start with it, and really to get an overview, a structure, and yeah, the best prioritization basically in it, because you also obviously have like consultants in it to like run with you through the whole project and do it in your organization. We think if it's done by your own organization, if you really assign a person to like run with it, be responsible for it, it has much more effect for your organization. But that's different. Every organization is working differently with that. That's our part where we think, or we see basically yeah, a gap on like where to prioritize and deal with the scoring, basically on make it yeah, more possible to become a B Corp.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the tool?
No.
No, then
okay. So yeah, Amber, maybe go to the overview. Back then we can go just for a quick check, also to like align with Anna's questions over the services we just said. Yeah. So on the right you see basically our services with it. So in turquoise, again, you have the 4 steps of the official B Corp scoring and like to receive the certificate. We said like, okay, realistically seen, there are 6 steps to prepare for this certificate. And then on the right side, you see our services with it. So in the beginning, we help you with the analysis of like your sustainability part, on the social, financial, and ecological parts. We also check in with your change culture, since you have to take your people in your organization along. Then we help you by filling in the questionnaire in the sense of answering and the overview, guidance in the assessment and scoring for the information. Then the scoring overview you just saw, and then the integration and activation workshop of like helping you basically align it with your KPIs and your roadmap. And then you basically go from there. Then you really do the work, and then go to the B Corp assessment at the end, when you think you did the work to improve your score.
yeah, so looking at our slides, like here, this requirements roadmap. What we also give you is an overview document of, a list where you can see, okay, what do we need in order to become a B Corp, that you can easily check, do we have it already, instead of going through this B impact assessment online all the time. And to use this list also to give people within the organization responsibility to divide the task, to make it a shared responsibility, and also immediately see, hey, we don't have this yet. Hey, make sure that this information is there, since we need it for the impact assessment. We need to give the answer. So how much percent is it? We need the evidence that we calculated in that way. While making the action and prioritizing, we also help in order to delegate it within the organization. Since, like Skadi already said, we are not there to make you a B Corp, since you have to be a B Corp. You cannot just take someone, let let them fill it in and make them leave. Since in 3 years' time, you still have to do it. You still have to be that B Corp. So it's really about making the change to become that, be that business that does business for good. And we just help you to prioritize, okay, where to start and how to start this road. Since it's not just a one-time thing, you have to keep improving yourself and stay that business.
Yeah.
So, well, kind of finished the story.
So that's basically what we have to say, basically, to the more practical part of filling it in. Now we want to come to any general questions from you. Where are you at, and what questions are you having at that point? Agnes, I see that you're talking, but we can't hear you. No? Oh, maybe you can ask your question in the chat, and then we will answer it.
Any questions further?
Maybe one question.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll wait because I asked already questions.
Okay, first of all, thanks a lot, Skadi and Amber. I know Skadi as well from the Cambridge training, and I was really looking forward to hear a little bit more about the B Corp. Just was wondering, I mean, you based in the Netherlands. I'm based in Switzerland, not that far away. But the question is the B Corp assessment worldwide the same? Is there some local, regional differences? Just to understand that, or is that really one fits all approach independently where your company is based?
No, it's global, so it doesn't depend on region. However, when you start filling in, you have to answer with how many employees are you, which industry are you in, so they can define, okay, what kind of assessment are we going to give you? Is it more environmentally focused or more worker focused, based on the kind of company you are? And then you fill it in, and like the validation, everything is also online. Of course, it's necessary now with Corona, but it still was, so it doesn't depend on region. It's however, they have different, B Lab Europe, B Lab US, B Lab Benelux, but they kind of divided that in order to create this community together, and also to have this understanding of the regional challenges, but still it's a global thing, so region does depend.
Yeah, so I know it depends in the interview then. So then they obviously know, for example, like in the questionnaire, you will also see a question about incorporating a clause in your policy about whistleblowing. In Europe, that's less a part than for example, in the States where B Corp is coming from. So stuff like that they take into consideration in the interview at the end, but it doesn't make a real big difference in the scoring itself.
Maybe another question regarding other certificates like CDP, or why did you decide for B Corp?
Well, we kind of started with B Corp. It's a global one, but we are certainly looking at ours and how are we going to consult and help in that certification process. Since, like we said in the beginning, our main goal is to move businesses towards sustainable businesses. And we use the People, Planet and Profit framework, since it's easy to understand. If you don't know anything about sustainability, then you understand what I'm saying when I'm talking about people, planet and profit. And our main goal is really to move people towards this sustainable business by connecting people and data. So now we use the data from the B Corp's tool in order to move companies in order to do sustainable activities. However, we can also just do it without any certification and do this analysis on the company and looking at the mission and the vision of the company and see, okay, what are your objectives around people, planet and profit, and define a roadmap on that and create a KPI dashboard just for your company with your operational KPIs combined with some people and planet oriented KPIs. So we are really about connecting and the people data towards sustainable business. So it doesn't really depend on the certification, but more about this change process of people changing towards sustainable organizations.
Yeah. And we got a lot of questions already in the beginning about like how to incorporate in our process then B Corp goals, for example, like, oh, we also have the goal to become B Corp. Does that match with your process, for example? And then we said like, oh yeah, no, let's align a little part within it if companies want that. But I'm also like doing a course, for example, for the SDG Academy on how to measure SDGs in your company, so that we can align that as well and can offer that to companies to if that is also an additional wish from companies, and we already hear that a lot as well. So we will grow in that direction so that we can support the integrating part of data and people with the existing certificates on the market, that it's believable and to the newest standards.
Okay. If there is then if nobody has any other questions. So you mentioned the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. So the top-down, it means that you probably communicate with the board and management, and the bottom-up with more other specific areas from the companies. Where do you see that the government and boards are enough aware, or how do you go one approach or the other approach?
Yeah, we are not more the top-down approach, since we help like management team in order to set like priorities for the strategy, but we're also working on a proposition. I see that Duncan is already also in the webinar, where we want to combine from top-down and bottom-up together to really get the organization from A to B by helping employees to give the tools in order to become this sustainable entrepreneur, while giving the management the mission and the vision and the help to monitor, are we going that direction, to make it like a one-stop thing from all sides.
Yeah, and also, Anna, it's like every organization starts differently, you know. Like,
yes.
Sometimes you have like a general manager coming when you have like a lot of general managers, basically, where that's basically a little bit with the bottom and not the top up. So a general manager really wants to like their company become more sustainable, and that's why we also say like, if you fill in the assessment as a manager and see like, oh, I don't have the information, where can I get it from? You need the top down and the bottom up approach, basically, to really make your organization more sustainable and actually like get the certificate when talking about the sustainability part. So and in both ways, do the numbers help in that sense? You know, like you can create a business case for when you do it bottom up, in the sense of saying like, hey, these are the numbers we have, or this is where I don't get further. Answer these questions, please. Or as we do with a client right now, it comes from the top, that they say like, oh, we want to become also B Corp in the process of being sustainable. How can we integrate our employees with it? For example, like what kind of actions and challenges maybe should we offer to integrate ideas from them and become sustainable, which is really nice to hear and see. And then they just take basically the employees within the process and take them into the workshops. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to get the feedback from the companies that you have, because we have the same experiences. Yeah. It depends actually on the people, on their personal mission, and from the board, and also sometimes really from the bottom.
Yeah, it depends really, and you just have to find the right people to connect with in your organization. And if you know to ask basically specific questions, then most of the times you get faster to the right people than to scream sustainability. Yeah. So I think it's also 12 o'clock. We don't want to consume too much time from you.
Can I ask you one last question?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Just how do you see, is there somewhere a critical size of a company to be a B Corp, or from your experience, is that from any company, from like 2 employees to big corporation? I know some big corporation that did it, but how do you see? For me, I'm more interested from a, let's say, very small company like 30, 50 employees. Is that something that you see as valuable or not really?
It is possible for all kind of companies. However, again, the impact assessment is based on the questions that you answer in the beginning, like the amount of employees, and then it's maybe possible to get like 140 points max if you're smaller, since then it's easier to implement things. So they think that you have to be like better than the bigger companies in certain things in order to make this impact bigger.
Yeah. And you only can apply for being a B Corp after 1 year of existing. And it's, what Amber said, some things can be done easily since you don't have to go through a big change process. And it's definitely, we would recommend it to do it as early as possible, because then you grow easily into it and you can implement things really normally. Like, for example, we directly, when we set up our company, we implemented a lot of things in our policy without needing to change it afterwards, because we knew, like, we need and want to be and have to show after a year that we are B Corp.
Thank you.
Yeah. So then I think it's time to run it up. We want to thank you a lot for your attention, also the questions. Agnes, I'm still curious what you wanted to say.
Please write us an email. We are available if you want to. Yes.
Yeah, we will be. We made a white paper on how to become a B Corp and all the things. So we will share it later on as well. And like Skadi said, if you have any questions, email us, contact us through the website, and then we want to wish you a happy Friday and enjoy your weekend at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Yes. Skadi, we are still waiting for the results from that open call. That's why I didn't move it. We thought that it would be already on 29, but yesterday I called and they said it will be in 2 weeks, I hope.
Yeah.
So I'll be back to you, and thanks for the presentation. And if there is any chance you share with us the slides,
the video will also be on our website, so
it will be on the website. Okay, thank you.
And we will share with you definitely the white paper as well, where the visuals will be in as well.
Perfect. Have a great weekend.
You too, guys.
Bye.
Bye.